April Fools! You guys honestly thought I would make good videos? Well, anyways, I'm back here today to review another game. After many months of, ever since my first video that I actually haven't made private on this channel, I have finally decided to do another review of a video game. And also, Charles Montoni forced me to do this. But anyways, so this one is not gonna, as you can obviously, it's not gonna be like the first one where I do some sort of weird anecdote at the start, and I'm not gonna try to be someone else with my review, but I'm trying to give a honest review and make some jokes. So the game is Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. Specifically Ruby because I have Ruby here. Some notes here, and I should be able to not choke when doing this. So yeah. Let's begin, shall we? Ruby's the most recent one that I've played, also with a little bit in there with Heart Gold, which I will do at some point, maybe, in the nondescript future. But, Ruby, if I can, there we go. Ruby is, I didn't really play it when I was younger. I wasn't really into video games when I was a kid. The only things I can really remember playing were the basics, Mario, Sonic, and some licensed TV show games, like cartoon shows, like SpongeBob, or I don't know, what are some other games that have come out that are probably awful? I think Cat Dog had a game. Can't remember. I'll Google it. It'll come up right here if Cat Dog has a game. Before I move on with some background of Ruby, about some more of the technical stuff. If you guys really have no idea what I'm saying, like I'm speaking in like some foreign language, like Russian or binary, it's probably because of two reasons. One, you've never played Pokemon, because which is somewhat acceptable. Whatever. Or two, you never heard of Pokemon, which in that case you've lived under a rock for the past 20 years. But either way, I will link two articles to get a more of a non-biased view on the series. The Ruby and Sapphire came out on March 19th, 2003 in the US, and relatively the same time around the other countries and stuff. It came out in Japan like 2002. I can't remember, I didn't write that down. And it was also the first game in the series to be in full color. Rather than that sickish yellow-green in the first two generations. And on the topic of the first two generations, Ruby could not transfer games from the first two generations, or battle. This for me, when I was younger playing these games, it probably wouldn't really cared. I might have been bummed out for a couple of days, but whatever. If I were now, as I am with digital information being transferred, I probably would have been mad. But now you can get these same experiences from the first two generations with Fire Red, Leaf Green, and Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and get all the Pokemon from the first two generations in the third. But with some of them still being difficult to get, which will be coming up soon. So speaking of getting Pokemon, let's talk about some of the specifics of them. With the starters, you are given between, obviously, three choices: a fire type, a water type, and a grass type. I don't know if I got them in the right order. The fire type is Torchic, a fire type, which is similar to that of like a chicken bird thing. Trico, a grass type, similar to that of like an iguana reptile thing. And everyone's favorite, Mudkip. It's shit. What was it? What's it called? Oh yeah, an axolotl. An axolotl is a mud skipper that has the ability to regenerate some body parts. It's a weird thingy. So yeah, what do I think of them? Well, it keeps on with the tradition of having them being kind of based on prehistoric animals or things closely related to prehistoric animals. Which, by the way, birds are closely related to dinosaurs or other things back then, or from millions of years ago, billions, I guess. If you guys don't know that, I'm sorry for you. And but for a favorite, I couldn't really give a solid answer on that, honestly. Torchic evolves into Blaziken, which is a very good Pokemon with its typing, its move pool. Trico evolves into Sceptile, which I think really is the best, has the best design out of all three of them. And but it kind of falls a little flat in like actual battles. Its stats are kind of meh, and so is its move pool. And Mudkip evolves into Swampert, which has one of the best typings in the game, with being only weak against one type. And it's 4 times weak against it, but you know, you can get past it because it can be either special or physical attacker with its stats, with its physical attack and special attack being almost the same. I'm not sure if they're exactly the same, but they're almost the same. It's kind of slow on the downside of it, and will probably get wrecked by any faster grass types, which there are a lot of. Like grass types have like Giga Drain, Solar Beam, or Leaf Blade, which only one person has it in that generation. That's Sceptile, one of its cohorts. Stuff like that. So it's a hard choice for even a harder decision in the long run of the game. In short term, Torchic kind of falls flat when you go to the first gym, which is a rock type gym. Can't learn any fighting moves yet, which Blaziken and Combusken, they are both fire fighting types. And if you guys don't know, fire is weak against rock, but fighting isn't. It's resistant and is also good against it. So it doesn't learn any just yet, unless if you grind it all the way, which then that's really the point. I mean, the games are trying to give you a challenge. And Trico and Mudkip, they are superior. And they both get super effective moves to rock, like ground, or I think also water for Mudkip, and then grass for Trico. But Torchic will pull through at the end with its speed, its high attack, and suitable special attack, since its fire back then is a completely special attack. Excuse me. Which is good to fight against the Elite Four and the Champion and stuff, which I'll get on to later. But not really for the last 2 gym leaders, as the 7th gym leader is a Psychic type gym leader, and the 8th is a Water type gym leader. Swampert can hold its ground. With being able to learn moves like Ice Beam and Blizzard, and learning Earthquake by leveling up, which Earthquake is impossible to get in these games, or almost impossible, because you only get 1 TM of it, and not many Pokemon can learn it from leveling up, and a lot of Pokemon are really good with it. Sceptile kind of falls flat at the end, like I've said before, but it can learn some Dragon moves to help it out. But really, that only helps it get past the cut in really one Elite Four person. I mean, it can learn some fighting moves, and it can learn Earthquake. All 3 of these that I've talked about, the 3 of these, all learn Earthquake. So now, I want to go more in depth with all the other Pokemon introduced in this game. But not in this video, because that would take a really long time, and we already have a lot of time that's been going on with this video. So I'm going to wait a couple seconds. There's going to be a link around here somewhere. You can click it, you can pause this video, watch that video, hear my opinions on those, and I'll wait. Alright, so back to the review after going really in depth with that. So Ruby is similar to that of its predecessors, which, if I haven't already stated their names, it's Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow, Gold, Silver, and Crystal. Alright, now that I've gotten that out of the way, there are some key differences with them. When you get your starter, you are put in a different situation than the first times, where first 2 times you're in a lab choosing it. This time you're out in the field. You have to choose it to fight a Pokemon immediately, and putting you into the immediate loop of the game, which might be a little bit difficult for people who are just starting out, but for a veteran like me, or other people that have been playing the game ever since they're like a kid or something, it's gives a new twist on the game. Then you also have your obligatory rival, who is the opposite gender and other sprite of that you did not choose. If you chose Brendan, your rival would be May, and if you chose May, it would be Brendan. And they test your skills as a trainer throughout the game, and by that I mean that they stop doing that about halfway through the game, and you can't re-challenge them further on in the post game.
So before I move on with anything else, I want to give a quick reference to who all of the leaders are in the Hoenn League, and I will have them up on the screen right now. So we got the innocent schoolgirl, who's a rock type leader that I've already talked about. We've got the surfer bro douche, who's fighting type. We got old man who's electric. We have girl, who's fire. We have dad, who's normal, and then we also have socially inept woman, who's flying type. Then we have the twins. That's really about it for them. They're a psychic type. And then we have the gay guy, who's obviously a water type.
And having a straightforward puzzle. And as the game progresses, you have a complex puzzle, with the last one being surprisingly hard.
Fuck!
The other ones, while they do have somewhat easy, or are somewhat easy, you have some reliable, as long as you have some reliable problem-solving skills. You also have something in this game not any other games had, or at least Pokemon games, and that is a dad. That's right, the mystery is finally solved. You actually have a father in this game, and he's a Pokemon trainer, and he's a gym leader. He's the 4th one. Wait, no, it's the 5th one. And he's also one of the more difficult ones in the game. It took me a couple times to actually beat him. He's right up there with Wallace, the 8th gym leader. Once you're done with the gyms, you move on to the Elite Four and the Champion, which I will cover in a little bit. But right now we'll talk about some key gameplay changes. The 3rd generation adds double battles. And that gives competitive a whole new spin on looking at things, with moves now being able to hit your partner and possibly hinder them as well as yourself. Abilities are also added, giving you helpful advantages like being immune to the almighty ground type moves and having weaknesses all multiplied by 0.75. You can do the math. Powering up moves when under a total of a third of your HP. Or something completely useless like having more in random counters when in caves or the open seas. Competitive has been helped and hindered by some of the changes Game Freak did with some of the mechanics in the game. And what I mean by this is moves and acquiring these moves. Rock Slide, Sword Stance, both of them very good moves, but they are fucking impossible to get. Jesus Christ! I think only like 3 Pokemon can learn it from leveling up. I don't even know if that are like introduced in the game. With Rock Slide. And Sword Stance, I think only like 2. Maybe 3 also. And just a couple more throughout breeding. Which makes no sense for me because, those are very good moves. And why would you make them so impossible to get? Yeah, I know good moves should be harder to get so that you feel better for actually using them. But don't make them impossible to get. Like, seriously. I had also thought that this generation, with this new generation, that competitive was was starting to be on the rise as the internet was starting to get more bigger, especially with video games at that point in time. Getting information on how to get moves were a tad bit easier, but getting these moves were still bullshit. Why did I write all this down? Anyways, I'll be back to my existential crisis later. Anyways, so off of the ramblings, let's talk more about the more core audience does, and that other than competitive, and that is fighting off evil. In this case, evil. The evil team in this game is somewhat different in that it has 2 instead of 1 team, and you must deal with both of them throughout the game. In Ruby, it is Team Magma you have to deal with throughout the game, and in Sapphire, it's Aqua. These teams, in my mind, are kind of jabs at eco-terrorists or, climate change theorists. But at least they're not the Nazis. Fuck. So that's the most political I'll get in this video is over with. It's time to move over to the end game, and that is Elite Four, the champion, and what you can do after you beat the champion. You beat the 8th gym leader. You feel high and mighty after beating him. Now you have to move over to a place called Victory Road, which is, it sucks, honestly. There's a lot of bullshit stuff that happens in there. You try to go through there, except that there's like a million Golbats in there with mean look, and they just kill off your whole team, and just like that. They don't allow you to escape or anything, but that's cool. They don't gain anything for like trying to murder you, except for being a nuisance. Alright, after you go through all that bullshit, you have to fight 5 trainers, which is the Elite Four, which is the first 4, and then the champion, and I've stated that like a million times already. So the first one of the Elite Four is Sydney. Now, Sydney is a dark type trainer. You know, he was a lot easier because he was the first one out of all 5 of them. But he was still pretty cool. He was chill, and he conceded defeat, which in my opinion, if you concede defeat every once in a while, it makes you stronger. Anyways, Phoebe, the second one, she was a complete sucker punch. As she looked, she was going to be like a water type or fire type or I don't know. But instead of being either of those, she was a ghost type Elite Four, and she was still easy to handle. But with me, I had this team right here. Yeah. And, you know, with the Absol ad on my team, Charlie, he helped out a lot, and also Flygon was helping out a lot, being his backup guy in case if he died. With really the only one being the hardest one out of them was her Dusclops with Earthquake and Ice Beam, which fucking was kind of also very difficult. Moving on to the third one, which is Glacia. God damn it, I had fucking problems with her. Like, she was the biggest barrier to fight her. Because as you could kind of see if you looked up the typing, a lot of my Pokemon were weak against water. And she's an ice type. But she's also has a lot of water types on her team. Because, you know, in this game there's 3 evolutionary lines that are ice types. So obviously you gotta have an ice type, even though there's other ones you could have, like, I don't know, steel type, psychic type, normal type, stuff like that. And which with my Pokemon, it's just how I rolled through the game. I just chose those. It's like, alright, that'll work, whatever. You know, I found an Aeron, caught. So I had to do a lot of grinding to beat her. And then finally, the final part of the Elite Four, Drake. Holy crap, does this guy look really a lot like Captain Ahab. Except with him, I guess it's like a Wailord, like a shiny Wailord instead of a white whale. He was also difficult. But with my grinding, level grinding, I was able to beat him without many setbacks, except with having to deal with his Salamence, which caused a lot of problems. Now that we've moved through them, now it's time to move on to the champion. Now, who do you think this guy would be? The champion. Come on, just say something to the computer. I don't care. I'll wait. Nope, none of them. It's the guy you only meet like 4 or 5 times throughout the whole game. Doesn't really seem like, you know, doesn't. I think he talks to you about Pokemon, but he only really cares about minerals. And that guy is Steven, with his last name being Stone. That's a really lame name. You know, it's like back in like the medieval times in which your last name pretty much decided on what your occupation is going to be, which is weird and makes no sense. But for me, he was easy to beat, and that was kind of weird because, you know, champions, they're not in these games. They're not really expected to win. They're just more expected to really put up a They're just expected to really put up a good fight and make you really work hard for your accomplishments you made in this game. And his main guy, Metagross, and he was easy to beat. And I've looked around a lot, and a lot of people have complained about him being really difficult. And they probably used the same person as I did, as you can clearly see, because I used Blaziken. Here's a bit of a pretentious alert. I only killed Metagross with one Fire Blast. Okay. After that, after you beat all the assholes, you watch the credits. You go back to your back to your house. Your dad congratulates you for beating everything, and then you go to your television. And television in this game was kind of an interesting idea, but flopped almost immediately, like most other things in other games, because really, you're not really going to go out of your way to look at that. It doesn't really add anything really important to the game, except for like sales. That's about it. But anyways, you go to the TV, and in Ruby, it says that a blue Pokemon has been seen roaming Hoenn, and in Sapphire, it's a red Pokemon. Now it is your task to catch this Pokemon. And what is this Pokemon, you might ask? Well, in Ruby, I always get their names mixed up. It's Latias? I'll edit it if I get it wrong. It'll be like right here. And it'll be the other one in the other game, which are both part of the what the fans call the Eon Duo. And I've already explained my opinion on those two in the other video, right here. Oh yeah. And you can catch your, you can catch a legendary Pokemon with, you could. This isn't your first one because you could have caught Groudon or Kyogre when you were in the Cave of Origin, which is also the only time you could actually catch those in this game. So don't fuck up on catching them, unless you don't really like them. Or you could catch the Reggie Trio before that, like kind of early on in the game, or halfway through, a little bit more, like 3/4 of the way through. Which both are accessible to before the credits, and they can be pretty helpful throughout the game. Or maybe, you didn't kill the legendary Pokemon in the Cave of Origin, and then after that, you can go a little bit to the right from Pacifilog Town, or however the hell you say that, and you can go up this tower. After the credits, there won't be a door there first time when you're going through, but after the credits, you can go through there. And you can go through some bullshit puzzles with your Mach Bike, and you can finally fight the almighty Rayquaza, Lord of the Skies! All hail the mighty Green One! and then, you have the Battle Tower. Nothing much to really be said here. It's just battles, nothing else. So yeah, it's an okay game. I liked it. It was fun. Mr. Montoni forced me to do this, but I have to sum it up in 3 words. He forced me to do this, or else he'll blow up my house. So here it is. Good time waster. By that I mean, you could play it in the car, the bus, while something's rendering, or, downloading, got nothing really to do, The other games, you probably take some more time out of your day to really play, So yeah, I think I did pretty good with this, unless if I left something out. But, really, I could care less, honestly.